and our economies, serving hundreds of millions of people that are our neighbors because they're all landlocked countries. The only access they have to the world is through Tanzania and Kenya. So there's about 750 million people that will live around us that will depend on Kenya and Tanzania for their livelihoods. This is a huge market, but it can only be realized if the two countries, Kenya and Tanzania, work as a single commercial system. This is my proposal. Even more importantly, we have a median age of 17, which is a very young population, one of the youngest populations on the planet. This represents both an opportunity and a risk. If we do not get our economies right, we risk becoming ungovernable. We must grow our economies and create enough jobs for our people, especially our youth, so they can live a meaningful and fulfilling lives. The surest way to achieve this is through joint effort operating as a single commercial system. Ni wajibu wa kizazi chetu kuamua mustakabali wa nchi zetu. In the short to medium term, both our economies are approaching the limits of public borrowing. Your Excellency, President Ruto, you have demonstrated strong leadership in navigating a very difficult fiscal environment from the very first day you assumed office. One could even say there has been a bit of magic, in how you have managed to turn things around. Tanzania, under the strong leadership of our President, Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, has skillfully managed to stay just, before reaching our limit on the borrowing. Given the demands of our infrastructure project when she assumed office, I really would like to congratulate her that she did very well to manage to stay within the limits and not reaching the limits, the ceiling of borrowing. So congratulations to both the presidents for the good work that they have done. The implication is clear. Governments alone cannot drive development. Private capital must now take the lead. Today, there's a significant capital available globally: pension funds, development finance institutions, commercial banks, hedge funds, and international investors. They are ready to invest. Capital does not follow a concept. It follows a well-prepared project where risk is understood and managed. Capital will come. Ultimately, what we need are bankable projects. Fortunately, we're not starting from scratch. We are already trading together, investing together, and integrating our markets through our people. Hivyo tunao msingi mzuri. Kinachohitajika sasa ni kuimarisha kwa kiwango kikubwa zaidi. Sasa tunapaswa kusonga mbele kutoka kwenye biashara ya kawaida kwenda kwenye biashara ya uwekezaji wa pamoja kupitia joint ventures and public-private partnerships. PPP isiwe sera tu, iwe ni utekelezaji. Excellencies, the role of government is critical to provide a predictable, transparent, and enabling environment that gives confidence to long-term capital. If we get this right, capital will come from domestic markets, the regions, and globally. Excellencies, beyond policy and systems, what we need is a shift in mindset. A shift in the mindset right from the high table to our people. We must recognize that we rise and fall together. We must celebrate each other's success and not compete against it. Ni muhimu pia tujenge utamaduni wa kuaminiana na kuheshimiana. Labda tuseme kwa uwazi zaidi. Watanzania tunatakiwa kuacha kuwaona Wakenya ni tishio kwa ajira zetu na uwekezaji wetu. Na Wakenya waache kufurahia matatizo yetu, majanga tunapopata na fujo zinapotokea nchini mwetu. Waache kufurahia. Hii ni njia nzuri ya kujenga imani kati ya nchi zetu mbili. Our people are one, from language to culture, from heritage to history, and through families that live across our borders, we are already connected. This is not a partnership of convenience, this is a natural alignment. United we are stronger, tusimame bega kwa bega. This is how we build a single commercial system. Tunachohitaji ni kujenga mfumo mmoja wa kibiashara, yani single commercial system unaofanya kazi kwa kasi, kwa ufanisi na kwa kiwango kikubwa. This is a shared growth. This is where we move from theory to execution. Your Excellencies, mwisho kabisa, na waalika waheshimiwa marais wetu wawili kwenye ufunguzi wa terminal kubwa ya gesi huko Mombasa ndani ya miezi michache ijayo. Terminal hiyo ya Taifa Gas ndio kubwa zaidi barani Afrika, kutoka Cape Town mpaka Cairo. Tunazo terminals Dar es Salaam na tunamalizia terminal Zanzibar. Mradi wetu huu ni mfano ukiwa na terminal 3, Mombasa, Dar es Salaam na Zanzibar, ambazo zinahudumiana na pia zinahudumu nchi ambazo ni majirani. Nasema ni mfano kwa sababu gesi inapoisha Mombasa, gesi inatoka Dar es Salaam kwenda kujaza Mombasa. Gesi ikiisha Dar es Salaam inatoka Mombasa inakuja Dar es Salaam. Hali kadhalika Zanzibar ikiishiwa, gesi inatoka katika hii miji miwili. Ndio maana nasema single ambayo inafanya kazi. Na gesi terminal hizi 3 zinahudumia nchi zote ambazo ni landlocked, kuanzia Malawi kuja Zambia, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Somalia, South Sudan na kadhalika. Ndio nasema kwamba tufanye biashara kwa kuwa na system ambayo inaunganisha nchi zetu hizi mbili, ili watu waweze kufanya kazi kwa ufanisi zaidi, waweze kukuza uchumi wao, na hivyo ndivyo tunavyoweza kuleta maendeleo ya nchi zetu hizi. Ndugu waheshimiwa marais na ndugu zetu wote mlioko hapa, dunia inayokuja ni dunia ya ushindani mkubwa. Si dunia tena ya kupewa misaada. Sio dunia tena ya kusema tunataka na sisi tupate haki yetu. Ni dunia ya kupambana ili upate haki yako. Tukiwa wawili kwa pamoja tutafanikiwa. Lakini tukienda kila mtu na wake tutakuwa dhaifu na hatutofanikiwa. Nawashukuruni sana kwa kunisikiliza.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rostam Aziz of Taifa Gas, for your testimony as we bring Tanzania and Kenya together, a path to common prosperity through private sector integration. Excellencies, allow me to invite to the podium Paul Russo from KCB Group. As he comes, let's give him a warm round of applause. Karibu sana.
Your Excellencies, allow me to stand on the protocols already established. I think Rostam decided to use my time and that of my brother Edda. So to try and save time, Your Excellencies, allow me to touch on 5 critical points. Earlier this morning, we had a panel, Your Excellencies, and that panel looked at opportunities for which private sector working together can actually bring forward the fruits of what we've been trying to do. And I think there were 3 emerging themes, Your Excellencies. And overall, and I think that was the last that we picked, is we need momentum. We need to create impatience. We need execution. And hopefully, the actions that we take, Your Excellency, and the points I'm going to raise will demonstrate that in the last 3 years, a lot has happened. And if we just add that momentum, Your Excellencies, we'll do a lot more. As KCB, operating in 7 markets, Your Excellencies, we remain catalyst to the conversations and discussions here. And I don't shy off. I am proud to say I'm speaking in between 2 of our customers. In the last 2.5 years, to demonstrate commitments, Your Excellencies, we've lent $520 million to 4 businesses operating in Tanzania and Kenya, originating from Tanzania, Your Excellency. And just to firm these up, Your Excellencies, $180 million for the acquisition of a cement company, $120 million, Your Excellencies, for fleet and cement company for a separate entity, another $100 million. If I say that, a few people might end up knowing who I'm talking about. And also, Your Excellency, in construction, $110 million facility for a construction company in Tanzania. If we can do that in 2 years for a regional bank, I am deeply committed that we can open up opportunities. Finally, Your Excellencies, we did launch the first successful sukuk, Fursa Sukuk, in this market. We've been in this market since 2008 and raised 11 billion Tanzania shillings, which we successfully redeemed. Looking forward, and now I speak for the private sector that is in the room, I think there is sufficient capital, in as way as Rostam has said, and if we come together and stay away, I think the minister earlier on in that panel said, stay away from competition, focus on partnership and growth, focus on prosperity. As a collective, we'll move our nations forward. It's my personal invitation to those of us who are lucky to be in opportunities like the one we have, for me as KCB, to come to the table and drive prosperity of our nations, of our people, and for the businesses that keep us alive. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul Russo from the KCB Group. Excellencies, allow me now to bring to the podium Mr. Edda Nadi from Amson's Group to wind up this session, to be followed by the presentation of the communique. As he comes, let's extend a warm welcome to him. Karibu sana.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President, Republic of Kenya, distinguished guest partners, and fellow business leaders, good evening. Unfortunately, like my brother Russo said, Rostam took all of our time, so I've been asked to shorten up my speech, so I'll go straight to the point. It is a profound honor to stand before you today at this historic Tanzanian-Kenya Business Forum as Managing Director of Amson's Group. I'm here not just as a businessman, but as a firm believer in shared destiny of our 2 great nations. Our journey in Kenya is a testament to the power of the region integration. When Amson's Group made the strategic decision to invest heavily the cross-border, most notably through our $300 million acquisition of Bamburi Cement, East African Portland Cement, and our recent $250 million commitment to the clinker plant in Kwale. We were guided by a single conviction that the East African community is not just a political bloc, but a single, vibrant economic engine. Our experience in Kenya, I would like to share a bit of experience with the fellow entrepreneurs. Our experience in Kenya, especially Tanzanians, our experience in Kenya has been one of growth and warmth reception. We have found a market that is hungry of infrastructure and a workforce that is exceptionally skilled. By acquiring a 69% stake in East African Portland Cement and taking the helm at Bamburi, we haven't just bought assets. We have embraced the responsibility and powering Kenya's Big Four and bottom-up economic agendas. We have seen firsthand that when Tanzanian capital meets Kenya industrial spirit, the result is transformative. This is not the first time that we have tried to enter Kenya. We have previously tried to enter Kenya in 2012 and 2017-18. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful attempts. But on the third and most recent attempt in 2024, we were well planned and more strategic, which led to our success. I must commend the excellent and friendly policy environment set by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto. This has played a major role in our adaptation in the Kenyan business environment. I would like to urge my fellow Tanzanians to seize this extraordinary opportunity to invest in Kenya, a nation with excellent workforce and human capital that transcends the needs of our growing economies. And to the Kenyan entrepreneurs, Tanzania is the land of untapped opportunity that provide the right environmental of creating industrial hub of our great continent. Two nations offering different type of opportunities with each its own unique advantages. My fellow entrepreneurs, my brothers and sisters, my mothers and fathers, some of you are quite old, we are living in a golden times where we have two seasonal leaders with immense business acumen. Immense business acumen, I repeat that again, and exposure. We also have ample opportunities around us. We have access to capital and a skilled workforce. What more do we need? Looking forward, Amson's group is committed to being a bridge. We see the future where a truck carrying a cement truck from Tanga to Nairobi or a fuel truck from Mombasa to Dar es Salaam moves with the same ease as commuters in a single city. To our heads of state, your presence here today signals the political will and needed resolve the remaining barriers. We ask for continued predictability in the investment climate and the further streamlining of cross-border labor capital movement. At Amson's, we are not just investing in cement or energy, we are investing in the spirit of the East African. We are here to stay, we are here to grow, and together we will build an East Africa that is industrial heart of the continent. Mungu aibariki Tanzania, Mungu aibariki Kenya, Mungu ibariki Afrika Mashariki, Mungu ibariki Afrika. Asanteni sana.
Truly thank you to the voices of integration in the region for your testimonies, Excellencies. Without further ado, allow me to bring to the podium Mr. Deogratias Masawe from TPSF and Ms. Carol Kariuki from KEPSA to read to us the testimonial from the Tanzania-Kenya Business Forum 2026. As they are here, let's welcome them with a round of applause.
Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders from both public and private, let me also adapt all the protocols observed. We are here mainly to describe what transpired since morning. We have had a wonderful day. We have had about 4 panel discussion where involved both leaders from private and public, from the government of Tanzania and that of Kenya, with the mainly theme of unlocking the private sector's growth and investment in our 2 countries. So without taking much, we have categorized the issues that we have observed in 4 categories. The first is the role of the private sector. And then the second, what we require from the government of Tanzania. Then what are the requests we have for the government of Kenya? And lastly, the requests we have for both governments to ensure the opportunity that we identify in the morning, we can capitalize as we look forward to strengthen our bilateral relationship. So without further ado, let me welcome the CEO of KEPSA to bring the presentation.
Thank you very, very much. Your Excellencies, our protocols observed in the interest of time, but the eating is in the pudding, so we are very excited that we are the last to present in this evening in terms of the business forum. But you've heard a little bit from the 3 businesses' experiences. And so mine is really to capitalize and put it together, what has today been. But before I go to today is not simply the conclusion of a business forum. It's a statement of intent. A statement that Kenya and Tanzania are on the move. Because when Kenya and Tanzania move together, East Africa moves together. Together, economies now exceed $200 billion US. Together, we anchor a regional market of more than 300 million people. Together, we represent one of the most promising economic frontiers in the world. With this enormous opportunity, we're reducing much of the African trade leaving Africa before value is created in Africa by continually making it easier for our businesses to trade and invest within Africa, and more specific in our 2 countries, so we create the needed jobs for the 60% of the world youth that call Africa home, and provide revenue for our governments to provide services, especially education, health, and security, which many are seeking out of the continent. Most of the rest can be done by the private sector, as you've heard. Over the last 5 years, since the last 8 visits to Kenya, where KEPSA and TPSF as the apex bodies of business in our respective countries, bringing together local and foreign associations and corporates, we presented the communique of the business forum then. We have seen undeniable progress. More than 500 Kenyan businesses have invested over $1.7 billion in Tanzania. Tanzania investors are making major unprecedented investments into Kenya's manufacturing, energy, logistics, petroleum, media, and capital markets, amounting to over $334.6 million and growing. Banks are expanding, manufacturers are scaling, investors are crossing borders with confidence. This is not theory, this is integration already happening in real time. And it proves an important point. The private sector no longer thinking country by country, it's thinking regionally. East Africa is becoming one market, one production base, one growth story. We commend both governments for the political will that has enabled this progress. When leadership intervened to resolve trade disputes, businesses responded immediately. Trade increased, investment accelerated, jobs were created. That lesson is clear. When governments move decisively, as we've heard, economies move rapidly, and we realize the ambitions of creating a common market that a single EAC commercial system, as has been said, that guarantees East Africans the true freedoms of movements of goods, services, labor, and capital. Your Excellencies, the partnership between the private sector in both countries has also matured significantly. What began has evolved into coordinated action. We've seen faster resolution of trade disputes, stronger public-private engagement, and in Kenya, our presidential roundtables are the hallmark of the progress we've made from business as the engine of economic growth to private sector-led development. Improved coordination through the East African Business Council as the focal points of our EABC of our representative countries. Greater investment confidence, and importantly, efficiency gains at the Namanga one-stop border post. What remains? Today we constantly heard from the different panels all day that the barriers that remain are costing East Africa growth every single day. Non-tariff barriers continue to disrupt trade. Discriminatory taxes, fees, and levies continue to erode intra-EAC trade. Different standards and regulatory systems continue to increase the cost of doing business, especially affecting players in the agricultural sector, which is the region's economic backbone. Border delays, which continue to undermine competitiveness. Businesses continue to struggle with overlapping taxation, licensing, and custom procedures. These are not administrative issues, Your Excellencies. They determine whether a farmer accesses a market, a manufacturer stays competitive, a truck delivers on time, an SME survives, or an investor chooses East Africa. While I'll not read every issue discussed, here are the key outcomes for you, Your Excellencies, that are the most important. For the rest, we shall engage the ministries. But before I read that, let me start with the private sector commitment. We do commit to have a joint business council to discuss our business issues and to increase our business between the two countries. We do commit to lobby our governments to not put any more NTBs and to resolve the ones that are there, because we know many of these NTBs come from ourselves as the private sector, lobbying our own governments, and also to facilitate business. We also do commit to do projects, as you've heard, that are joint ventures and to work together. For the Republic of Kenya, this is what we ask. Continued partnership in removing the non-tariff barriers. When we come to you, Your Excellency, and we ask for a tariff to Tanzania, please say no, because we must work together. Swiftly and decisively, that would significantly reduce the instances of delay in the agro-produce, horticulture, and manufacturing sectors. Faster harmonization of standards and custom systems. Tanzania agro in pharmaceuticals, products approved in Tanzania still face additional verification processes in Kenya, delaying access to market. Mutual recognition would speed up the availability of essential medicines and reduce costs. Stronger facilitation of Tanzanian investors operating within Kenya in the retail space. Tanzanian investors require clear licensing and operation frameworks to scale in Kenya. Streamlined processes would encourage greater two-way investment and economic integration. For the United Republic of Tanzania, this is our ask. Accelerated harmonization of regulatory standards, tax frameworks, custom clearance, and single custom territory. We must align to ensure the products moving across the borders do not have to go through retesting. For instance, in agro-produce and manufactured goods, one country's certification is enough. Time-bound resolution of the active non-tariff barriers and discriminatory taxes affecting trade between the two countries. The risks posed by the NTBs are that non-East African countries gain as we lose potential for intra-EAC growth, thus the stagnation of regional trade at 14%. Jointly, this is what we ask of both countries. First, policy predictability. I think that has been said and emphasized a lot. Businesses invest where rules are stable. Second, regulatory harmony. East Africa cannot compete globally with fragmented systems. We must gear towards a borderless community with not only accelerated trade in goods but in services, allowing our educated Kenyans and Tanzanians to offer their services across borders. Third, speed of implementation. The region cannot afford slow execution in a fast-moving global economy. Let us have all the discriminatory fees, levies, and taxes addressed. Fourth, creation of regional projects that will benefit the region so that we have global value chains, competition rather than national projects in areas like resilient infrastructures, energies, and service industries. E.g., in the light of Iran war, our ports would have been the natural access of Asia. So let us make our ports for such ties, but more so, ports of choice as a new trade order takes shape. Fifth and the last one, faster clearance and predictability for goods entering Tanzania and Kenya. Because the truth is this, the global economy is reorganizing itself. Supply chains are shifting, industrial policy is returning, regional blocks are consolidating. This is East Africa's moment, but moments do not last forever. If we move boldly, we can become a continental hub for manufacturing, logistics, energy, digital, and agro-processing. If we delay, others will move faster. And so in conclusion, Your Excellencies, history will not remember us for the meetings we held. They are great. History will remember us for the barriers we removed, the investments we unlocked, the industries we built, the jobs we created, whether young East Africans found opportunities within our region instead of outside it. The future of East Africa will not be built by borders, it will be built by bridges. Bridges of trade, bridges of infrastructure, bridges of trust, bridges of investment, and bridges of shared prosperity. We as business reaffirm our commitment to work alongside both governments to track implementation, sustain dialogue, and deliver solutions, as we've always done, that has delivered progress witnessed today. Because when Kenya succeeds, Tanzania succeeds, and when Tanzania succeeds, East Africa rises. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Deogratias Masawe from TPSF and Ms. Carol Kariuki from KEPSA for reading or presenting the communique of what transpired for the past day. Excellencies, as we move from the communique which has just been read to action, I invite you now to witness the signing of the MOU between TNCC, ZNCC, and KNCC, which aims at increasing access to investment between our two countries, which aims at creating an enabling environment for investment between our two countries, which aims at eliminating any trade barriers as well as any trade impediments between our two countries, but also this MOU, Excellencies, which you're about to witness, will also call for the parties to share market intelligence information. This, as mentioned, will be between KNCC from Kenya, TNCC and ZNCC, Tanzania National Chamber of Commerce, Zanzibar National Chamber of Commerce, and Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industries. May I now call the parties to the stage for the exercise. Sasa tunashuhudia utiwaji wa saini kati ya Kenya na Tanzania wenye lengo la kuongeza uwekezaji kati ya nchi zetu mbili, kufanya biashara kwa uhakika kati ya nchi zetu mbili, lakini zaidi ni kuondoa vikwazo vya biashara, lakini pia kubadilishana taarifa za kimasoko na za intelijensia za uwekezaji kati ya Tanzania na Kenya. Na mkataba huu unasainiwa baina ya KNCC, yani Chamber of Commerce ya Kenya, TNCC, yani Chamber of Commerce ya Tanzania, na ZNCC, yani Chamber of Commerce ya Zanzibar. Brass. As soon as you're done signing, you will then rise and show to the excellencies on the pages that you've signed, which shall all be led by the brass band to applause for this MOU that has been signed between Tanzania and Kenya. Can we all please clap our hands? Now we shall witness as you exchange the MOUs. Let us once again give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Excellencies, allow me now without further ado to invite Honorable Abubakar, Principal Secretary, State Department for Investment Promotion, Republic of Kenya, for his remarks. As he comes, let us extend a warm welcome to him. His remarks will be followed by those of Honorable Mudavadi. Kindly prepare. Let's extend a warm welcome to him as he comes for his remarks. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Excellencies. First, allow me to clarify that I am not Abubakar, but I'm the Minister, I'm the Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, and Abubakar is our Principal Secretary, so I am holding brief on behalf of the Ministry. So, Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Cabinet Secretaries, our Attorney General who is here. I'm also joined by our colleague, the Minister for Energy, Ondai Opio, and thank you very much for coming. So any issues to do with energy, my minister is here. Business people and friends of Kenya and Tanzania. Allow me to start first by thanking you. We know this session was supposed to have ended around 5 or 6, but it is now heading to 9 o'clock and we are here. I take that as a determination and your commitment to make sure that our business indeed thrives. I will not say much, but just to confirm that before we came, we had written very many things. But because I have been part of the tour the whole day, I have gotten the impression that much of what we wanted to ask has been overtaken by time. And I want to take this particular time to thank our heads of state for the topmost commitment in assuring our business people that we can do business and we are ready to do it. One of the things that is obvious is that the business community knows what they want. Sometimes the policies have not been very well aligned. Sometimes they've taken longer than we wanted. But when I look at the resilience of business people, from my own hometown, we take onions from Tanzania, oranges from Tanzania, and they come every day. Our role as government is just to facilitate that to go on and to go well. Your Excellency, I just have 2 issues that I would want to just elaborate. The first one is free movement of goods and people. I want to note that Kenya, through our Excellency, we said that we have opened our borders to anybody coming from Africa. You need no visa. And I want to assure you that that declaration alone has improved business in Nairobi and in Kenya tremendously. When people are not sure whether they'll be allowed into our country, they cannot be able to invest freely. So I think one of the issues we'll really be looking upon is the free movement of goods and people. One of the issues that is worth noting is that the borders in Africa were set during the colonial times. The colonizers who set those borders, now back in Europe, have actually collapsed their borders. With one visa, you can move from Italy to Germany to Spain and all the other countries. Yet, in our continent, we still remain very emotionally attached to our borders. So there's no way we can be able to compete and work well to open our continent if we don't open our borders. So we want to really urge all our governments, and especially at the borders. 3 hours, 4 hours for cargo to cross from one country to the other is not allowable. So, Your Excellency, I am sure these are some of the issues we've discussed, but we must say as business people, we want to be able to move our goods across the borders without having to worry. Your Excellency, in the area of tourism, you can imagine, again, if I may use a European example, you get a visa in one country and you can tour about 27 countries. Yet when you want to come to our countries, you need a visa from almost every other country before you can tour. It makes our tourism such a joke. Again, we can be able to come together and ensure that we are able to work and bring down all those barriers that have already been identified. For the companies that have already come to invest in Kenya, allow me first to thank you for the confidence you have shown. And one important thing is, if you talk of Bamburi, which we are very proud of, one of our oldest cement companies, we don't perceive it as a foreign company, even now. And even moving into the future, anything that we would take for Bamburi Cement to be able to grow, as government, we want to be on your side, because we believe when you grow, also Kenya grows. And likewise, may I request, we also have Kenyan companies that are here, whether it's KCB, whether it's Britam, whether it is Equity Bank. Whenever you see a company or a brand from East Africa, that is your brand, whether it is Kenya Airways or whichever other product, so that together we can be able to build. Our true enemy is not each other. It is poverty, unemployment, and export of raw commodities. So that is where we need to put our efforts. And I really want to thank the two presidents, because when the world looks at our region, they don't see countries, they see East Africa. So either East Africa is a good place or a bad place. So we have a joint responsibility to make it the best. And that's why we support the joint programs that have already been suggested to ensure that we move together. I want to end there to thank all of you, and indeed to confirm that all the resolutions that have been made here will be brought to life. Thank you, and may God bless our two countries.
Thank you very much for those candid remarks. Excellencies, allow me now, without further ado, once again to invite Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs from the Republic of Kenya, for his remarks. As he comes, let's extend a big round of applause to him. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Madam Samia Suluhu, President of the Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency President William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, brothers and sisters. Your Excellencies, I will not say much because I think time is against us, and you'd like to hear the remarks that both of you want to present to us. I'll just take 2 minutes to take us down some nostalgic journey. Imagine if we were able to get back the East African Airways. We would not need a BASA agreement because we would be one. Imagine if we had the East African ports and harbors. We would be co-investing just the way we are talking. Imagine if we had the East African Railways. Imagine for a moment if we had that one common currency. The European Union has got 27 countries. They have the euro. We have 8 countries in the East African communities. We have 8 different currencies. Just imagine what it would be if we all went back down that memory lane, the way our businesses are driving us to think and work together. It would be a wonderful moment for all of us. That memory lane speaks volumes, and that is where we should go. Thank you for listening to me, and always remember, we were shown by our forefathers, Julius Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, Obote, and others. Let us just go down the memory lane. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Republic of Kenya, for your candid remarks. Excellencies, allow me now to invite Honorable Professor Kitila Mkumbo, Minister, President's Office, Planning and Investment, for his remarks, and he will extend an invitation to you both to address this congregation. As he comes, let's give him a warm round of applause. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa Waziri.
Mheshimiwa Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, waheshimiwa mawaziri, viongozi wa sekta binafsi, mabibi na mabwana. Nimepata heshima kubwa na upendeleo maalum wa kupewa heshima ya kuwakaribisha waheshimiwa maraisi kuja kuongea hapa. Kabla sijafanya hivyo, niseme mambo matatu tu. Moja, waheshimiwa maraisi, nichukue nafasi hii kuwathibitishia kwa niaba wenzangu ambao tulikuwepo tangu asubuhi kwamba tumekuwa na kongamano zuri sana na Mheshimiwa Rais Dr. Samia. Kwa upendeleo wako nimehudhuria forum kama hizi nyingi, lakini lazima nikiri kwamba forum hii imekuwa tofauti sana. Kwanza, imehudhuriwa na watu wengi sana, lakini mazungumzo yamekuwa ya kindugu sana, lakini kulikuwa na furaha na umakini wa hali ya juu. Jambo la pili ni ujumbe. Ukiacha yale ambayo sekta binafsi wameongea, one of the very key message from the discussions in the morning is that in order to sustain the momentum which has really been generated from this forum, we have agreed, the two governments, on a structured framework for continued engagement, one that will allow us to meet more regularly and beyond the occasion of state visits. Mheshimiwa Rais, utakumbuka mara ya mwisho tulikuwa na forum kama hii kwenye ziara yako mwezi Mei, na kwa kweli kama kumbukumbu zangu hazijaniangusha, ilikuwa tarehe 5 Mei mwaka 2021, na mimi nilikuwa sehemu ya ujumbe wako. Sasa makubaliano hapa ni kwamba hatuwezi kusubiri mpaka state visit ndipo tufanye forum kama hizi. Tumekubaliana na wenzetu kutoka serikali ya Jamhuri ya Kenya, lazima tuwe na utaratibu mzuri wa kufanya haya. Na role yetu kubwa kama serikali is facilitating business environment. We shall also serve as conveners of our businesses and to catalyze the actions of what has been agreed in these forum deliberations. Waheshimiwa maraisi, sisi pia tumewafuatilia tangu asubuhi, tangu Mheshimiwa Dr. Ruto alipowasili nchini mchana. Kitu kimoja cha wazi ambacho huwezi kukiona kwenye deliberations na kwenye minutes ni kwamba viongozi wetu wawili tangu mlipokutana pamoja mmeonyesha nyuso za furaha sana. Na ukweli ni kwamba nyie viongozi wetu mkiwa na furaha, Kenya na Tanzania zinafurahi. Kwa hivyo siku ya leo imekuwa siku ya furaha sana kwa Kenya na Tanzania na wananchi wake, na tuombe Mungu tuendelee namna hiyo katika kuishi kwetu. Na kwa kweli nyie wawili ndio vinara wa kuwezesha mazingira ya biashara katika nchi zetu. With those few remarks, Your Excellencies, and on behalf of participants seated here, I now have the pleasure and the distinct honor to invite Your Excellencies, and beginning with His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and later to be followed by Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, to speak and address this congregation. Mheshimiwa Rais Dr. Ruto, karibu sana.
Shukrani, asanteni sana. Tafadhali tunaweza kuketi. Your Excellency, my dear sister Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, distinguished government officials, esteemed business leaders, ladies and gentlemen, hamjambo. Assalamu alaikum. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to join you here in Dar es Salaam for this Tanzania-Kenya Business Forum, a forum that reflects our shared resolve to translate our strong bilateral ties into practical, results-oriented and driven economic partnerships that create opportunity, drive trade and investment, and deliver real benefits for our people. I commend the rich and candid engagements that this forum has had since morning, as we have been ably informed. Your deliberations have not only identified concrete opportunities to deliver deeper collaboration, but have also clearly highlighted the practical constraints that must be addressed decisively and conclusively. Your Excellency, the Kenya-Tanzania partnership is anchored in deep historical ties and a shared vision for prosperity. Today, that partnership is evolving into a dynamic economic relationship driven by strong trade, investment, and strong people-to-people connection. Within the framework of the East African community, we are demonstrating that regional integration is not merely an aspiration, it is achievable. According to the latest quarterly statistics bulletin by the East African Community Secretariat, total East Africa trade increased significantly from $124 billion in 2024 to $156 billion in 2025, representing a 25% growth. Intra-EAC trade grew even faster by 28%, rising from $15.1 billion to $19.3 billion over the same period, though it still accounts for only 12% of the region's total trade. Our bilateral trade remains strong and steadily growing, reaching 860 million shillings in 2025, a slight reduction from 950 million US dollars in 2024, with near balanced flows on both sides. These numbers reflect deepening complementarities and expanding value chains between our two economies. Let me expound on this. We lost a bit of trade, close to $100 million between 2024 and 2025 because of non-tariff barriers. And I am very happy that in this meeting, business people from across the divide are speaking from the same script. Listening to Paul Russo, listening to Heather of Amazons, listening to my good friend from Taifa Gas, my good friend Aziz, they are speaking a common language, a language of East Africa. The reason why we are losing trade, we should have crossed by now the $1 billion mark. But instead of making progress, we are making progress in the opposite direction. And it is because there are some people, bureaucrats at the borders, who are erecting roadblocks and creating barriers to our businessmen and women and reducing the trade between our countries. I want to tell us that it is said you cannot share poverty, but you can share wealth. We must allow our business people to create wealth because we have an opportunity to share what we have. We cannot share what we don't have. And it is very important, and it is the reason why I have undertaken this state visit on the invitation of my sister, President Samia Suluhu. Not because I lack something to do in Kenya, not because I am a tourist. Na sijakuja hapa matembezi. I have come here because we have serious business between our two countries and we share a common destiny. And I like the statements that have been made here. We want to recalibrate our relationship. We want to re-engineer our engagement because, as has been said here, Kenyans are not enemies of Tanzanians, and Tanzanians are not enemies of Kenyans. Our enemy is poverty, unemployment, and lack of development. And we can confront this enemy together. We will succeed together. The sooner and the faster we understand that, the better for all of us, and the sooner we find the solution. Look at what has happened in just 2 years. We have investors taking up opportunity in Kenya to the tune of $300 million in just 2 years. And they are not just taking up opportunity in Kenya, they are using government, Kenyan financial institutions to acquire those businesses. That is how collaboration works. Instead of complaining, look for the opportunity and take it up. Let me give you an example. When Amsons decided to buy shares and take over Bamburi Cement, some business people in Kenya came to complain to me, why are you allowing these Tanzanians to buy Bamburi Cement? This is our blue chip company. And I asked them, you didn't complain when Bamburi was owned by the French. How does it become a problem if it is owned by a neighbor in Tanzania? So are you telling me it was okay for the company to be owned by a French company, and you have a problem if it is owned by a Tanzanian national, an East African, a neighbor? This is the kind of mentality we want to kill. We want to make sure that what is Tanzanian is Kenyan, and what is Kenyan is Tanzanian. Ninyi mnanielewa? Investment flows are equally strong. Kenyan investments in Tanzania now exceed $1.7 billion, spanning financial services, manufacturing, telecommunication, and retail, while also positioning Kenya as a dependable source of industrial input for Tanzania. Tanzanian investments in Kenya, now over $330 million, are on the rise, particularly in tourism, manufacturing, energy, and agriculture. Together, these investments are driving job creation, facilitating skills transfer, and strengthening industrial capacity in both countries. Beyond trade and capital, our people remain the backbone of this partnership. The free movement of people, labor, services, and capital continues to unlock innovation, enterprise, and shared opportunity. Despite this progress, we must acknowledge that we are still underperforming relative to our full potential. The gap lies not in ambition, but in execution. Persistent non-tariff barriers, including delays at our borders, non-harmonized standards, and restricted market access, continue to impose real costs on our business. And I am very happy that today my sister President Samia Suluhu and I have agreed and given instructions and goodwill from the highest levels of government to our officials that all the remaining non-tariff barriers, and we have counted them, they are about 20, they should be worked out and agreed before the end of this month of May. So that we can provide a seamless opportunity for our business people to work. Looking ahead, there is urgent need to enhance the building blocks of an efficient business ecosystem through infrastructure and connectivity, which are pivotal in unlocking our shared competitiveness across all sectors. Efficient transport networks, modernized ports, and robust digital systems will continue to be more consequential than ever before in lowering trade costs and amplifying regional value chains and potential. Ladies and gentlemen, first, we must strengthen the physical backbone of our integration, from the seamless linkage of our standard gauge railways to greater complementarity between the ports of Mombasa and Dar es Salaam, and the transformative 400 kilowatt Kenya-Tanzania power interconnector is such one example. These are critical infrastructure projects that will drive economic growth and deepen our regional integration. Just for your information, the gas pipeline between Tanzania and the port of Mombasa, we signed off today for a feasibility to be undertaken and the necessary construction to be done so that we can connect the gas fields that you have here in Tanzania to Mombasa for us to get gas from this country and use it in Kenya to power our development. So I am sure Taifa Gas, Lake Gas, and all the other investors from Tanzania in our gas ecosystem, we have now sanctioned our two ministers to proceed with the necessary details for us to get that into action. The power interconnector alone, spanning over 500 kilometers, has synchronized our electricity grids and unlocked opportunities for expanded regional power trade. Reliable and affordable energy is the fuel that drives industrialization, and this project speaks to what coordinated regional action can achieve. Second, we must build a seamless financial and digital ecosystem. Our banks are already regional champions. Our mobile money platforms are global benchmarks. The next step is clear: real-time, cross-border payments, interoperable fintech systems, and deeper capital market integration to unlock the digital economy at scale. I am looking forward to having a conversation on how we can finally actualize the mobile one area network. As you know, phone calls today from Kenya to Uganda and Rwanda are considered local telephone calls. There is still a problem. We still consider a phone call to Tanzania that it is a foreign call. Foreign to where? You know? Really, the people in that space, our investors in the mobile space between Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, including Rwanda, we should harmonize that space. We want a telephone call from Kenya to Tanzania to be local. We want a telephone call from Tanzania to Kenya to be a local call, because we are one people. Third, we must industrialize at scale together. Tanzania's strength in raw materials and natural resources, combined with Kenya's financial ecosystem, represents a powerful competitive advantage. Together, we can build integrated value chains in agriculture, pharmaceuticals, construction materials, and much, much more. And fourth, we must empower the private sector to lead. Government's role is to de-risk, enable, and accelerate. Your role as business leaders is to invest, innovate, and integrate. A target of US dollars 500 million in new cross-border investments and $1 billion in trade over the next 3 years is ambitious, but entirely achievable if we act with purpose and alignment. Arising from this forum, we are making clear, actionable commitments. On non-tariff barriers, I have said we must transition from seemingly endless discussion to execution. Our governments will establish a joint mechanism to eliminate all outstanding barriers, publish a time-bound resolution plan, and implement a continuous monitoring system to ensure new barriers are addressed swiftly and conclusively. On private sector engagement, we fully support the establishment of a Tanzania-Kenya Joint Business Council as the central platform for structured collaboration, and I'm very happy that the business communities have signed an MOU here to facilitate. Through sector-specific working groups, we will ensure continuous engagement and translate private sector priorities into investments, partnerships, and measurable outcomes. Beyond the Joint Business Council, we will institutionalize the Tanzania-Kenya Business Forum as an annual platform to review progress, track implementation of commitments, and unlock new opportunities. The forum we have had here today, and I want to encourage the private sector. If you want to make things easy, get partners from Kenya into your business and get partners from Tanzania into your business. That way, you will have the ear of government on both sides, and we will unlock all these transactions much more easily. What we are offering is that this forum we are having today in Tanzania, let us have it next year in Kenya, and the following year in Tanzania, and the following year in Kenya, until we make this market one seamless market. Finally, these measures will complement ongoing efforts under the East African Community, including the single customs territory and one-stop border posts, which are already reducing border crossing times from days to hours, lowering logistics costs, and enhance predictability of businesses. The opportunities ahead, ladies and gentlemen, are immense. From agriculture and agro-processing to manufacturing, energy, tourism, and digital economy. Our two nations are uniquely positioned to build integrated, competitive, and globally relevant value chains. To the business leaders gathered here today, our moment is now. We must seize the abundant opportunities before us by forging partnerships and investing boldly. We reaffirm our steadfast resolve to providing a stable, predictable, and enabling environment anchored on regulatory clarity, investor protection, and private sector-led growth. Together, we are building two separate markets into an integrated economic system, and we are doing so not as competitors, but as co-creators of shared prosperity. If we act with unity, with resolve, and with purpose, I have no doubt that the Kenya-Tanzania partnership will ultimately stand as a continental model of what African integration can achieve: practical, impactful, and private sector driven. Let me conclude with the remarks that was made by the gentleman who prayed for us. that gentleman who read a verse that I am very familiar about in Psalms 133. Correct? Yes. And in that verse, he told us, that verse says how good and how pleasant it is when brothers live together in unity. That is the unity of purpose we are called upon here. And as he read that verse, I was seeing uhuru na umoja. We got uhuru, but what happened to umoja? That is what the prayer man was telling us, unity. And I want to add that if he had continued reading that verse, in verse 3, it says, where there is unity, God commands a blessing. So that is the future. Thank you very much. God bless you, and see you soon in Nairobi. Asanteni sana.
Naomba tukae. Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto, Rais wa Kenya, kaka yangu. Sisi wa Afrika, mwanamume hata akiwa mdogo ni kaka. Kwa hiyo kaka yangu, kinitambua uwepo wa Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs in Kenya, Mahmoud Thabit, Mheshimiwa Balozi, Waziri wa Mambo ya Nje na Ushirikiano wa Afrika Mashariki, Mheshimiwa Waziri Kitila Mkumbo, Waziri wa Mipango na Uwekezaji kwenye ofisi yangu hapa Tanzania, na mawaziri wote na cabinet secretaries mlokuweko hapa kutoka Tanzania na Kenya. Lakini pia nitambue uwepo wa excellencies, captains of industry, entrepreneurs and distinguished guests. Lakini na wanahabari pia, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Na heshima kubwa kusimama mbele yenu baada ya wote waliosema. Na nadhani hii ni fursa yangu ya kufunga kongamano hili au mkutano huu wa wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania na Kenya. Nakumbuka kama ilivyosemwa hapa kwamba tukio kama hili lifanyika miaka 5 iliyopita wakati nimefanya maiden state visit pale Kenya, few days baada ya kuwa rais wa Tanzania. Kwa hiyo kama walivyosema wengine, kuna haja sasa ya kwenda kila mwaka na makongamano ya aina hii. Ndugu zangu, kauli mbiu au the theme of this forum inasema unlocking private sector growth and investment, ambayo inakwenda vizuri na makusudi ya serikali zetu mbili au matakwa ya serikali zetu mbili ya kutumia nafasi au fursa zinazopatikana kwa private sector. Kwa sisi Tanzania tunajua sana umuhimu wa sekta binafsi au private sector. Na ndio maana katika dira yetu Tanzania National Vision, Development Vision 2025-2050, tumesema implementation is going to be 22% by the government, 70% by the private sector and only 8% by public enterprises. Kwa hiyo, private sector is a main actor wakati tunatekeleza dira yetu ya 2050. So, mkutano wa aina hii ni muhimu sana sana kwetu ku-unlock opportunities ambazo tutafanya kazi pamoja na private sector, whether ya Tanzania, ya Kenya, ya East Africa, ya kokote duniani, lakini dira yetu itekelezeke hivyo. 70% kwa private sector. Wanasema kwa Kiingereza au niweze kuelezea uhusiano wetu wa Kenya na Tanzania. Na mimi nasema Kenya na Tanzania, we are joined at the hip, au pengine mguu mzima. And imagine a couple joined at the hip. Mkitaka kwenda mbio, mmoja anakwenda mbio, mmoja anazorota, mtaanguka. Mmoja akisema akae, mwingine hataki, atakaa kwa lazima, anataka au hataki. Vovote vile anavyofanya mmoja akiwa hataki, haitafanikiwa. Sasa sisi Tanzania na Kenya tumeunganishwa at the hip au kwenye mguu, lazima twende pamoja. Lazima twende pamoja. Hatuwezi kugawanywa. Tunagawanywa kwa mentality zetu, kwa fikra zetu, tunavyoangaliana, kwa choyo chetu, selfishness, lakini in reality na kwa maumbile ya Mungu sisi ni wamoja. Kwa hiyo hatuna budi kwenda hivyo tukiwa wamoja. Wakati nimetembelea Kenya mwaka 2021, nilizungumza pale bungeni kwamba sisi wa Tanzania na wa Kenya ni wamoja, na hata wanyama wetu wanajua hilo. Nikawapa mfano wa wildebeest kule Serengeti na Masai Mara. Wale wanyama, they are traveling with no borders. Hawagongi pasipoti, hawalipi fees kwenye vikwazo, hawana chochote. Wanaingia Kenya, wanarudi Tanzania. Na nzuri zaidi, wale wanyama anabeba uhai ya ujauzito kwenye nchi moja, anakwenda kujifungua kwenye nchi nyingine kwa zile season zao. Sasa nikawauliza wabunge wa Kenya, mtoto wa wildebeest ana uraia gani? Uraia wa Kenya au wa Tanzania? Sababu ujauzito umebebwa huku lakini kazaliwa huku. Ana uraia upi? Na you never know, inawezekana baba na mama si wote wa Tanzania, kule wakikutana kule kwenye heating system, inawezekana dume la Kenya ndio limepanda Tanzania. Sasa watoto wana uraia gani? Na hivyo ndivyo wa Kenya na wa Tanzania tulivyo. Hatuna budi. Sisi ni watu wa ardhi moja, lakini ni watu wa destiny moja. Lakini yanayotokea haya ni kwa sababu ya selfishness, utandawazi, kusikiliza sana nje, mambo ya teknolojia, sijui mambo ya globalization, yanatugawagawa hapo katikati. Lakini ukienda kwa undani, leo tulikuwa tunafanya introduction kwenye mazungumzo yetu ya serikali, na katika introduction wakawa introduce magavana wawili wa provinces, wote wa Masai nadhani wale, lakini it happened wale pale. Lakini wale nilikutana nao kwenye msiba wa marehemu Mheshimiwa Lowassa, and they were crying sawa sawa na Wamasai wa Tanzania, na wanasema tumeondokewa na ndugu yetu. Sasa sema wameondokewa na ndugu yao, wao wametoka Kenya, Lowassa Mtanzania, lakini walikuwa wanalia kama Wamasai wengine pale kwenye msiba. Kwa hiyo watu ni wale wale. Ukienda Mara kule, wale watu ni wale wale. Kwa hiyo Hata hapa tu coast, ukivuka Tanga kuingia Mombasa, watu ni samahani, naomba maji. Watu ni wale wale. Asante. Begi pole pole. Kwa nasema watu wa Tanzania na Kenya ni wale wale. Hata jamaa zangu wa Kipemba Mbarawa yuko hapa. Kuna waziri anaitwa Mbarawa hapa. Lakini Wabarawa ni wa Kenya. Na hawa ni Wapemba walio originate Kenya kule. Kwa watu ni wale wale. Hatuna haja ya kugawana. Hatuna haja ya kushangilia maovu yanayotokea upande mmoja na upande wa pili wakashangilia. Sisi yanapotokea maovu Kenya ni maovu yetu, tushirikiane kuyaondoa. Yanapotokea maovu Tanzania vivyo hivyo. Leo tulikuwa tunazungumza na Rais Ruto asubuhi. Sijui asubuhi mchana, maana amechelewa naye amekuja mchana. Tukaa tunazungumza jinsi ya kudeal na hawa watoto wetu watovu wa adabu. Wanaojiita nani hilo jina? Hao. Eti na wenyewe wanajifanya ni hao wa East Africa. Kwa hiyo popote wanakwenda kupigania demokrasi. Kwa hiyo wafanye fujo huku, wachome huku, wadisturb serikali zao. Nikamwambia Ruto, we have to send firm on this watovu adabu hao. Tusichague wa Tanzania au wa Kenya. Wakija kwangu na chapa mikwaju, wakija kwako chapa mikwaju. Ili wakae sawa. Na hapo tutapata jumuiya ambayo ina watu wenye heshima na ina watu walionyooka. Neno demokrasi lisituchafulie nchi zetu wala mila zetu wala desturi zetu. Demokrasi haina formula. Demokrasi ya kule mbali tofauti na ya kwetu huku. Sisi kwetu tuna mila zetu na desturi zetu zinazokwenda na hiyo demokrasi. Kwa hiyo kwa namwambia mwenzangu, hebu tusimame mguu sawa kulinda hizi nchi zetu. Nilikuwa namsikiliza kaka yangu Mudavadi akisema anatamani kungekuwa na shirika la ndege la East Africa. Natamani kungekuwa na East African Harbors na nini. Natamani, jamani ndugu zangu, si alikuwepo? Our founders of the nations walituundia. Ikatokea nini? Wakaja wasomi, the educated. Tukafanyaje? Tukatafuta majustification na kila sababu tukavunja. Si kweli? Lakini baadaye tukaona we were wrong. Tukajiunda tena. And now this is a time of the learned. Akina sisi. Wale walikuwa educated, sisi learned. We learned from the past experiences. Si ndio? Kwa hiyo sasa the learned lazima tuhakikishe East Africa inasimama na inasimama tunavyotaka sisi na sio wanavyotaka wale. Tunavyotaka sisi na sio wanavyotaka wale. Tuna mengi ya kufanya na kufanya East African community ni community kubwa ya kiuchumi inayojielewa, inayoweza kusimama yenyewe. Tuna mengi ya kufanya. Ndugu wangu Ruto amecite some few example hapa, lakini tuna mengi ya kufanya ambayo yanaweza akatufikisha pahali pazuri na East Africa ikawa ndio community au jumuiya ya kutegemewa na inayoheshimika duniani. Ndugu zangu, nimepangwa nizungumze mwisho ili nifunge mjadala huu. Yote yanayohusu mkutano wetu leo, kukuza biashara, kuondoa vikwazo, kukuza chumi zetu, GDP na mengineyo yameshaelezwa na yameelezwa kwa takwimu, na takwimu au statistics hazisemi uongo, hali halisi wote tumeiona. Lakini Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto naye alieleza tuliyoyazungumza toka asubuhi na mambo ambayo tumejipanga kufanya ili kufanya nchi zetu mbili to facilitate development haraka, iwe ya uwekezaji, iwe ya biashara, iwe yoyote ile, lakini iende haraka. Kubwa hapa ni ujenzi wa miundombinu au infrastructure development ambayo nchi zote mbili tumejidhatiti kuendelea kufanya ili kurahisisha ufanyaji wa biashara na uwekezaji ndani yetu. Lakini nataka nitumie fursa hii niwahakikishie mambo mawili kwa upande wa Tanzania. La kwanza, hichi kilichokuwa launched leo hapa, hii platform ya Joint Tanzania Kenya Business Council ambayo imekuja na mafanikio makubwa sana, na wenzangu wamesema hapa kwamba isiwe inafanyika tu wakati wa state visits za maraisi na watu wakubwa, lakini iwe ni regular platform ambayo kila mwaka tunakutana. Nataka niwahakikishie Tanzania tuko tayari kwa hilo na tutakuwa tayari kuhost kama serikali tutahost jambo hili. Lakini la pili ni kuzifanya kamati zetu za hizi joint trading committees za nchi mbili kukaa kila baada ya muda kuhakikisha wana monitor changamoto zote za kibiashara na changamoto za uwekezaji zinachukuliwa hatua kwa haraka, au kuzuia zisitokee kwa kuchukua hatua haraka, au zinapotokea zifanywe kazi kwa haraka ili tusidisturb ule mnyororo wa thamani au value chain ya investment na mambo ya trading ndani ya nchi zetu mbili. Kwa sisi Tanzania tunahakikisha hilo, na niseme tuko tayari kufanya kazi kwa karibu zaidi na business community za nchi zetu mbili, lakini pia ya East Africa. To our captains of trading and industry, serikali yenu kama nilivyosema, tutachukua hatua zote kuhakikisha mnafanya kazi zenu vyema. Tutaondosha barriers kama tulivyosema hapa. Tumejipa ambitious target by May, sijui, lakini tukishindwa by June tutakuwa tumezimaliza zote. Lakini pia tutarekebisha sheria zetu pale pote sheria zenye kwenye utata. Will make sure our laws are abiding with the nature of our trading and investment within our two countries. Lakini pia tutajenga infrastructure inayohitajika. Amesema Rais Ruto, reli, barabara, infrastructure za kwenye Great Lakes kule tutajenga ili biashara iweze kuflow vizuri. Kazi yenu kwenu kama wafanyabiashara ni kuongeza thamani, kutengeneza ajira, kulipa kodi inavyostahiki. Narudia, kulipa kodi inavyostahiki, kwa sababu kodi zenu ndio zitatufanya tufanye marekebisho mnayoyataka kwa haraka. Kwa wafanya biashara wa Kenya ambao wameinvest Tanzania, KCB, Equity, Bidco, Kenya Airways na nyingine nyingi ambazo zimeweka hapa, tunawashukuru kwa kututengenezea ajira kwa vijana wetu, kulipa kodi na kutusaidia kwenye maendeleo. Asanteni sana. Na kwa Watanzania, kampuni za Tanzania ambazo zimekwenda kuwekeza Kenya, the Amsons Group with Landmark Bamburi Cement Acquisition, Taifa Gas, kakaangu Rostam, Bahresa, Mohammed Enterprises, Azam and others, mmebeba bendera ya Tanzania kule. naomba muinyanyue juu. Muinyanyue juu bendera ya Tanzania na msiende kufanya chochote kile kinyume na sheria za kule, ili tufanye biashara, tufanye kazi kwa vizuri zaidi. Ndugu zangu, kesho Rais Ruto atakwenda kulihutubia bunge la Tanzania na wanamsubiri kwa hamu. Lakini nimwahakikishie tu kwamba atakaporejea nyumbani hatorudi tu na documents ambazo tumezungumza hapa na tuka exchange, mikataba, makubaliano na nini, lakini atarudi na commitment, my own, my government and my people's commitment to work together with our sisters and brothers in Kenya. Our doors are open. My own phone is open and you know it. Sometimes ukinikosa unasema dada chukua simu. Sasa nitajitahidi nikikuta message dada chukua simu, nitachukua simu. Ruto wajua Kiswahili. Ukiniambia dada chukua simu, niichukue ilipo nishike mkononi hivi. Kwa hiyo my people are also ready to work with people of Kenya. Tutafanya kazi pamoja kwa uaminifu, kwa heshima, kwa upendo na spirit ya brotherhood, undugu ndani yake. Sisi, we are not competitors, we are partners, we are family. Kama nilivyosema, tuchukulie Kenya na Tanzania kama kiumbe chenye miguu mitatu. Sasa kwenye miguu mitatu lazima vichwa viwili vifate amri hii moja. Haiwezi kichwa kikakaidi miguu inavyotaka, tutaanguka. Na ikianguka Kenya tumeanguka wote. Ikianguka Tanzania tumeanguka wote. We have seen what happened to the East African community. Tukawa kila mtu na lwake, yametokea mambo gani? Mpaka sasa hivi tumerudi kujiunga, na kama serikali mbili tumejiunga, sasa tunaona levels of trade zinavyokuwa na investment. Na maendeleo yetu pia kama nchi yanaenda vizuri. Sasa Waswahili wa kwetu huko wanasema penye nia pana njia. Or where there is a will, there is a way. And we have the will. Now we must carve out the way. The MOUs have been signed. Na ni matumaini yetu kwamba we'll stop rhetorics and start acting. Start implementing what we have agreed. Hayo ndio matumaini yetu. Niseme tena, to our Kenyan brothers and sisters, we are joined at the hip. Let us walk together. Hakuna njia ya kugawana, let us walk together. Baada ya kusema hayo, sasa nifanye kazi niliyotakiwa kufanya, nayo ni kutamka rasmi kwamba Tanzania Kenya Business and Investment Forum 2026 now officially closed. We are waiting for the one in 2027. Kenya Tanzania Business Forum. Oh yeah. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana. Wish you all the best. Asanteni sana.
Excellencies, we truly would like to thank you so much for both your presentations, and with great humility and honor, allow you to proceed on to your next item. Brass band, naomba tuwaruhusu viongozi sasa waendelee na ratiba yao. Can you all please clap our hands together to the excellencies? Thank you so much.